the presence of the angel and also having this experience of going to heaven.
Hey, Brenda, can I ask you a question real quick?
Sure.
This is James. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good. You were talking about they were protecting a throne in heaven, there, God's throne. Who was they protecting it from?
That's what I wanted to know. I don't know what they were protecting it from. The word that was used was they were guarding the throne.
Yeah, I wonder
don't
why.
Know from, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what they were guarding it from, because to me that seemed to indicate that they had a reason to guard it. I have no clue what they were guarding it from.
Right.
But they said that they guard around the throne.
Right, because why would God need anybody to protect his throne from his heaven? In
right,
heaven. That's
why, right.
You know.
I didn't understand that either, but that's what I was told, that they were responsible for guarding the throne.
So well, let me ask you this.
I don't know.
When you were on the other side, and how do you know, or how could you tell that it was angels on the other side that you were talking to, and not maybe your mind still being active after death, and and having visions from what you perceive heaven could be like?
Okay, first of all, I never perceived what it could be like at that time, because I had no idea. And how did I know they were angels? Oh my goodness. I really can't answer that question other than it was just a knowing. It was like a discernment. It may have possibly been because if you see somebody 9 feet tall with wings and they're illuminated, covered in light, almost seemingly made of light, you would think that they were angels. And in terms of my mind being active after death, I don't believe that, because when you die, everything dies. Your brain waves die. Your heart dies. In fact, a lot of people are brain dead before their heart stops beating.
Yeah, but I'm going to jump in. I'm going to jump in here on that, James and Brenda, because it's a proven fact that they have come up with. Your mind will still function and still have thoughts up to 7 to 13 minutes after you pass on, even if there's not shown any brainwave. As your brain is dying, it's still having thoughts. And it's a fact. They have come to the conclusion that a lot of people go into a dream world as their brain is dying to make it easier for them to pass on. And I don't know. I that's one question that James asked you. I'm wondering that I take it because you are a minister. Have you been?
Yes, I am. I wasn't before then.
But were you religious
prior to
it?
Right.
Okay. Because again, I what you're saying, I hear a lot. So I agree with a lot what you're saying. But then there's some other things I don't honestly feel comfortable about, because again, like I was saying, when you do die, your thoughts don't die instantly. You're still in a dream world for a little while. So again, maybe when you were put under, that you were in a dream. I don't know. That's the part only you know. And that.
Well, I understand what you're saying. I'd not heard that, and I suppose there is that possibility. However, I think that when you go through something like that, you kind of know when something is real and when it's not. And when I look at all of the something else that was interesting that I left out.
Yeah, go ahead.
As I said, prior to this, I was not in ministry at all. And in fact, I was probably a pretty horrible person. I mentioned that I was an orphan from the time of 11 years old. And I didn't trust people. I didn't like people. I didn't want to be around people. And pretty horrible person. This experience totally changed my life. I don't know how long it was between the time of death and the time of actually going in to heaven. I don't know how long I was there. I don't know any of that because it was almost like time was irrelevant. I was outside of time. So I don't know. The only thing I know is what I saw and the impact that it had on my life as a result of that. And not only that, when I look at the other kinds of things that happen as a result of that, for instance, people getting healed, I didn't even believe in that. I didn't think it existed. And I know even now it wasn't any power of my own. And I don't believe that had this experience just been a vision or I wasn't quite dead yet, that I would have had that experience. I think that this is something that came from the fact that I was actually in the presence of God.
Interesting. Yeah, I myself died on an operating table when I was like, 20, I think around 22, and I was dead for, they said about 3 minutes, and then I came to. You know, I only had one thing I remember is I heard the doctors and the nurses saying that he passed.
He's gone.
I heard that. And then I saw, you know, again, like what John Lear was telling my friend Art, the black tunnel, going in a tunnel. I started going through the tunnel, but then all of a sudden I was back. And then the next thing I woke up and they told me the next morning that I passed for 3 minutes or so, but I don't really remember anything other than I heard him say that he just passed, and they mentioned the time and all that stuff.
Right.
But that is all I remember. Now, maybe that was still my brain functioning yet. You know, my body and heart might have stopped because that's, you know, the first thing they look at is when you're, but I don't know. I can tell you myself, I would never want to go through that again. RW, he's been on our show several times. Like, he's a guy, it's like the Eveready battery, you know, has 9 lives. He's used 7 of them. I don't think I could handle going through what you went through, or what he went through, or some of the other guests have gone through, because just the thought of, you know, being, because, you know, I always was told, I came from a family that was Mennonite. Okay, so very religious background. Now, when I was a kid, my parents were very nice. They said, you can go to any church you want. So I went to a Protestant church, I went to a Catholic church, and all that, because my dad was Catholic. My mom actually side was the Mennonite side. But I can honestly tell you that I always thought heaven was different than what I assumed it would be. You know, I thought when you passed on, or if you came back, you're taken through this tunnel and you're shown all your bad things you've ever done. You are shown all the good things you have done. And then you have a choice, or they give you a choice. You know, you can either come back or not come back. And if you choose to go, you know, continue on, you can't come back. That's what my feelings always have been, or my understanding of, you know, going to church and all that stuff. But I don't know.
Well, I always believed is that when you die, you either went to heaven or hell. You went to heaven if you knew who Jesus was and you accepted him as Savior. You went to heaven. If you didn't, you went to hell. I never knew the experience that I had. My whole life did not come before me. I do believe that there is a time of judgment, but I didn't experience that. But one thing that I did experience, and this was on another occasion, I experienced going to a room. It was like a room, but it was...
Now, hey, Brenda, I hate to interrupt again, but we need to take a break for the radio stations and the news. So if you want to get yourself a cup of tea or something, we'll be back in 8 minutes.
Oh,
so
great.
Don't hang up.
Okay.
We'll be back.
All right.
You and I were living in the strangest of times on my hill, watching while the cities rise from the cleft that we left when the sun beat it down into the valley. Living in the strangest of times, you and me, watching while the cities rise and fall like rain. Seems like I knew you before, but when I knew you then. Funny how the colors bend when lifetimes start to blend, and we've been spinning mysteries Mandela. Living in the strangest of times, you and me, watching while the cities rise and fall like rain, fall like rain, fall like rain, fall like rain. Into the darkness we fly, keys of all beneath survey. Who am I? Wherever all of my armies of destiny, I guess I can capture every butterfly I see, for I see past my crown how my battlements are coming down. We're living in the strangest of times, you and me, watching while the cities rise and fall like rain. Living in the strangest of times, you and me, watching while the cities rise and fall like rain, 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 they fall like rain, they fall like rain.
That is Earl Grey with that bumper music. I tell you what, the guy is so talented. He can play a guitar, he sings great, and plus, well, he's one of the people kind of high up in MUFON, and he investigates UFOs. Well, anyway, we have James right now with the news.
Yes, I am James Griesbaum with the Paranormal and World Changes News. Now, scientists extend the lifespan of worms by 500%. A new study has found that a few simple genetic changes can make worms live much, much longer. Now, the findings can help scientists better pinpoint the genetic changes that could lead to major increases in human lifespan